Alrighty, so I'll go ahead and get started. My name's Ashley Bicknell. I'm one of the recruitment specialists for the University of Houston. So I'm here today to talk to y'all a little bit about UH. Um, of course, when choosing a university, one of those things that's going to become really important is that you're choosing your home for the next 4 years. So in doing that, you're choosing the city you're going to live in, the community you're going to be a part of, opportunities that are going to be available to you, all by choosing that city itself and that university. So that's kind of how I want to introduce this a little bit. But looking at the University of Houston, one of the great things about us is that we're not a college town. So by not being in a college town, we have a lot of different opportunities. We are the fourth largest city in the United States. We are a very diverse city as well. We do have the largest medical center in the entire world. So about 10 minutes from campus, you can get to that medical center. So if you're thinking of going into the healthcare professions, being a doctor, pharmacist, nurse, optometrist, whatever it is, we have that ability to get you those hours to shadow that are going to make you more competitive. Say for some of the PA schools, even in like San Antonio, they want to see like 150 hours of shadowing just to apply. So we have that ability to get you those hours that will make you more competitive. Additionally, we do have over 24 Fortune 500 companies headquartered. So if you want to intern with, big name companies like Goldman Sachs, we've even had internships with the Houston Rockets before. So really cool different opportunities for our students. We are the #1 city in the United States to start your career. So if you want to stay in Houston after graduating, that's an option. If you want to head back towards San Antonio or go anywhere else, you have that ability to get those internships in undergrad that are going to make you more competitive wherever you want to ultimately go. One other fun thing about us is that we're 25 minutes from NASA. So if you've ever wanted to intern with NASA, we definitely don't get overlooked for those opportunities either. At one point, NASA took 10 students in the entire world to help map the geology of Venus. And you might be like, NASA did that? Because that's what I said. But apparently, yes, NASA did do that. But out of those 10 students in the entire world, one of them did come from the University of Houston. So we're really not overlooked for those really great opportunities. Continuing on a little bit, though, one of the other great things about being in Houston is that there's always something to do in the city. Great things about not being in a college town. We do have the Astros, the Rockets, the Texans. So you can sometimes find really affordable seats in the nosebleeds of those games. So that's kind of fun as well if you want to go out and kind of see a professional sports game. We do have a museum and theater district. Some of those museums you can get in for free with your UHID on Thursdays. So it's a fun activity if you don't really have anything planned that day. We do have the largest livestock show and rodeo in the state of Texas. And if you're like me and you're not really that into the rodeo or you didn't grow up around it, I just want to point out a few things. Cardi B has performed at the rodeo. Panic at the Disco has performed at the rodeo, but also mutton busting. If you're not familiar with mutton busting, as I wasn't, it's where they put a small child on top of a sheep and then they hold on for dear life until they inevitably fall off and cry. And I don't know about y'all, but that sounds incredibly entertaining to me. So mutton busting. And as I said earlier, we are a really diverse city. So you're going to see a lot of different food and culture you can experience throughout the city of Houston and even in the university itself. So looking at the University of Houston, we are the third largest public school in the state of Texas. We have about just over 46,000 students now. So we are a larger institution. We're also a tier 1 research institution, which is basically a fancy Carnegie way of saying we do a lot of research. So if that's something you want to do in your undergraduate years, the University of Houston can help you. And it's not, just the STEM areas, engineering and the sciences, but it's also the social sciences, the College of Education, the College of Business, all doing research. So if it's something that you're interested in, there are a lot of different areas you can get involved with for research. Additionally, there are 9 tier 1 research institutions in the state of Texas, but out of the 9, we are going to be one of the most affordable, which is always a bonus. We do like to save money. Looking at the academics, though, of the University of Houston, we do have over 120 different undergraduate majors. We actually just introduced 3 new engineering majors this year. So a lot of different opportunities there for studying. And you might be like, well, what's popular? What are other people doing at the University of Houston? Well, we're pretty big for architecture. Us and UT Austin are the only 2 5-year architecture programs in the state of Texas that get you licensed and certified within that 5 years. Additionally, we're pretty big for engineering. Most of those programs are going to be nationally ranked. We are 25 minutes from NASA. We're kind of the oil and gas hub of the nation. So lots of different opportunities there, even with internships. We're pretty big for business too. If you didn't know, we are #1 in the nation for entrepreneurship. Most of our business students, over 60%, do at least 1 internship before graduating. Some students do 2 to 3 before graduating. So a lot of different opportunities depending on what you're interested in. We are also pretty good for music education. We have a 99.9% job placement rate. So really, no matter what you're interested in studying, the University of Houston can really help with that. We do have an optometry school, pharmacy school, nursing school, medical school, law school, and over 200 graduate programs. So even if, past undergrad, the University of Houston can help get you to wherever you're trying to ultimately go. Now, we do keep a 21-to-1 student faculty ratio. So that is something to keep in mind, but some of those classes can be a little bit larger. So if you're looking for that really small field, a large institution, we do have an honors program that's ranked one of the top honors programs in the nation. With our honors program, they have a 15-to-1 student faculty ratio. Classes tend to be a little bit smaller. So you have a little bit more access to professors, a little bit more access to research. I've had students in the last couple of years that did go to from JECA into the honors college. You can't see the presentation? Bruh. Thanks for telling me. This is problematic. Okay, we're gonna try again. Which one is it gonna be? Yes or no? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Thumbs up? Cool. So, sweet. Sorry about that. So there were just, some really snazzy slides before now that our marketing team came up with. But continuing on a little bit, so we do have a lot of different opportunities, but honors does have that smaller feel if you want to have that opportunity. They also have the ability to live with the other honor students on campus and attend the home games and sit with the other honor students. So you kind of get that small cohort at a large institution. So if you like that small feeling that JECA has, that is kind of a way to potentially continue that feeling into college. Kind of continuing on more so, one thing that we have at the University of Houston is that we are a really diverse institution. And it's not just like some buzzword. We have a lot of different programs in place supporting diversity on our student campus. We're one of only 2 universities in the state with an African-American studies major, and that department also sometimes puts on events for students. We do have a Center for Mexican-American Studies that has put on events for students. As well, we have an urban experience program that supports first-generation college students. So one of the programs through there is called Las Comadres. It's for first-generation Latina students, and it puts them with a mentor who's a faculty or staff member who stays with them all 4 years of university and kind of supports them. Additionally, we are a DREAM US school, so we do accept the DREAM scholarship for students who are eligible for that scholarship program. So we have that as well, supporting students. But again, we also have a lot of different organizations, an LGBTQ resource center, a women and gender resource center, over 100 different student multicultural organizations, 15 different campus ministries. So a lot of different ways to get involved and be supported on campus. We actually have students from over 130 countries represented in our student body, 46 of the 50 United States, nearly every county in the state of Texas. So what's really amazing about that is when you go to class, you're not just going to learn from your professors, but you're also going to learn from your peers because they will be from different cultures, different countries, different backgrounds. And that's one of those really awesome things about the University of Houston. Continuing on a little bit more, we do have a lot of different campus life available to students. There's over 600 student organizations. Like you've probably heard in a lot of different presentations now, if you've been attending these, we have organizations for everything: religious, political, social, cultural, groups related to certain majors, fields of study, all different random ones. I think our mariachi band was one of the newest student organizations on campus. We have Greek life as well, over 45 fraternities and sororities. So we have traditional Greek life, multicultural fraternities and sororities, academic fraternities and sororities. We do have a rec center on campus. So if you're determined to, get in shape, get healthy, whatever it is freshman year, but you don't want to be outside because Texas, well, there's an indoor track in the rec center. It's my favorite part. Not really, it's just a great thing. But it also has an Olympic-sized swimming pool, an outdoor swimming pool with a water slide, all the workout equipment you can imagine, like a 50-something foot tall rock climbing wall. And then my personal favorite place where I spend the majority of my time, hands down, when I go to the rec center is definitely Smoothie King, because I don't work out, y'all, but it is in there. So like I said, something for everyone. And then we do have D1 athletics at the University of Houston. What's really cool is you actually get in our home games for free. It's already included in your tuition. All you have to do is request a student ticket before they run out. So if you want to go to a football game for free, we just went to the Final Four in men's basketball. So, if you want to go to a basketball game, we're pretty solid there as well. So a lot of different options to kind of go and attend and have fun at those sports games. So that's one of the things is there's always going to be something to do in the city of Houston, but there's also always something to do on campus at the university. Looking at housing at the University of Houston, we do have 3 residence halls for freshmen. We have Cougar Village 1, Cougar Village 2, and Moody Towers. If you want to do honors and live with the other honor students, you'll end up in Cougar Village 1. Cougar Village 1 and 2 are the newest residence halls built in 2010 and 2011. Well, I guess we do have a newer one now, but we're going to roll on through that. And they have more like suite style bathrooms, whereas Moody Towers is a slightly older renovated residence hall. It has the more traditional kind of community style bathrooms. Now we do have 2 all-you-can-eat dining halls on campus. Generally, they're open 24 hours a day. More recently, in the last year, they've had slightly different hours just for sanitizing hours and cleaning times. But generally speaking, closer to 24 hours a day. So if you're up late studying, you're out late with friends, and you really want French fries at 1 in the morning, you can have French fries at 1 in the morning. It is a great world we live in, y'all. But maybe on that day, you're just really not feeling like eating in the dining hall and you just want something different. Well, on campus, we do have a Chick-fil-A, Panda Express, McDonald's, Pink's Pizza, Pizza Hut, Subway, and I could keep going because we have like 30 different dining options, and they bring in food trucks as well. So we definitely have an appreciation for that food in the city. So that's a little bit about housing. Now you might be wondering, do I have to live on campus? The answer is no, you are not required to live on campus even freshman year, though it is highly recommended. And I'll tell you why. Statistically, students who live on campus do have higher GPAs than students who live on campus their first year. And one of those reasons is going to be we do have free walk-in tutoring in the Cougar Village 1 residence hall. So, if you finish class at 2 p.m. and tutoring is at, say, 6 p.m., and you drive home, the probability of you wanting to come back at 5 when you realize you don't know how to do that problem, and there's Houston traffic. And let me tell you, I know that y'all absolutely adore San Antonio traffic. It's your favorite highlight of every day that you have. Well, let me tell you, Houston traffic, even more magical. So much more magical. So one of those perks of living on campus is that you're not dealing with that. All you have to do is in your pajamas, hit that elevator button and go down to the first floor, and there's free walk-in tutoring. So that's one of those perks of living on campus. Additionally, you just might be more likely to get involved with those student organizations, which help you find additional connections. So that's one of the great things about living on campus. So the actual admissions process. The application opens on August 1st each year. When you complete, you will complete the Applied Texas or the Common application. There will be an option when you apply to select that you want to apply with test scores or without test scores. So you do decide that upon submitting the application. Once you submit that application, you'll either pay a $75 application fee at that time, or you'll wait if you're eligible for a fee waiver until you submit the application. You'll get access to the UH portal. In the UH portal, you'll be able to submit your fee waiver. You'll also be able to self-report your transcript information. Additionally, if you're applying without test scores, there is the possibility we may ask for additional documents. I'll go over those more in a minute. But if we do ask for those additional documents, you'll also upload those in the student portal. So that student portal is going to be your best friend. It's also where you receive an admissions decision. So best friend. No. So the way we do admission at the University of Houston, if you are applying with test scores, depending on where you fall in class rank at the end of junior year, there's an SAT or ACT to guarantee admission. If you meet either test score, you'd be guaranteed admission. So if you're in the top 10% of your class, there is no test score minimum. If you are in the 11 to 25%, if you have a 1080 or a 21, you are guaranteed admission. 26 to 50%, an 1170 or a 24, you're guaranteed admission. Outside of that, we do recommend having the highest test score possible to be more competitive. Now, keep in mind, some majors may have additional requirements, but that does guarantee you admission into the university. So if you're applying without test scores, it's going to be pretty similar, except we're going to look at core GPA. Now, core GPA is going to be a GPA that's only the 4 core subjects. So math, science, social studies, and English. I'm really glad I remembered all 4 of those this time because this is being recorded, and half the time I sit there and try to find the 4th core subject, but you're going to make a GPA just with those core classes. And with that GPA that we take, We're going to do a similar thing with class rank. If you're in the top 10%, there's no minimum core GPA to guarantee admission. If you're in the 11 to 25% and you have at least a 3.4 core GPA, you're going to be guaranteed admission. If you have less than a 3.4 core, you'll go into more of like an individual review. Of course, having a higher core GPA definitely helps through that review process. If you're in the 26 to 50% or at a non-ranking school, last I knew y'all were still ranking, so that's why I've been going through these. It's going to be a 3.45 or higher to guarantee admission. Lower than that, you're going to go into an individual review, and then lower 50% as well is more of an individual review. So you might be like, well, what is individual review? Well, we're going to look very much at that core GPA, and then if needed, we'll also ask for some additional documents. Those documents will be a resume and probably an essay. I do not know that the essay prompt will remain the same, so you can kind of ignore these that are on the slide, but there will likely still remain that component, and then resume. One thing to know is that with that resume, think of it as like expanded resume. So if you're applying to any schools that do an expanded, submit that one to UH. But really, we're looking for any leadership that you've done in any student organizations inside or outside of school. If you have any part-time work experience, if you did any volunteer service, anything like that, you want to list all of that. And any awards you've earned, anything like that. But also, besides just listing that, we really want to see, you know, what years you did it, freshman, sophomore, junior, how many hours per week? Was it 20 hours per week that maybe you were working part-time, or maybe you were volunteering 5 hours a week every other weekend for the last like 2 years, you know, something like that. Just try to be as detailed as possible, because that'll only assist you in being reviewed. So the more detail you can add, the more it'll help you in that review process. So that's something to really keep in mind. Highly recommend over the summer, if you haven't, take some time to try and remember all the things you've done over the last few years, because that'll be really helpful as well. Now, one thing to know is that certain majors have additional requirements. Architecture will require a portfolio. Music, theater, and dance have auditions. The other arts majors will either have a portfolio or personal statement. Business, engineering, natural sciences, and hotel restaurant management do want additional GPA requirements met that are a little bit higher, or additional test score requirements met that are slightly higher. Technology, natural sciences do want to see pre-calculus. So that's something to keep in mind. I know sometimes degree programs aren't always set up for that, but I know they do want to see pre-calculus at least during senior year if you haven't taken it yet. So that's something to keep in mind too for those specific majors. One other thing we do have is a pathway program through exploratory studies. If you don't start out in your first choice major, there are pathway programs to get there. It's kind of like going in undeclared, and then you complete that pathway and you're in that major, usually after 1 to 2 semesters, depending. We also take transfer students. I know y'all are early college though. So kind of talking about money, that's always a good thing to focus on. So right now, tuition and fees, full-time, 15 hours, both semesters for the year is about $11,500. Housing, room and board, we guesstimate to be about just under 10,000 with the meal plan. Books and supplies, a little over 1,300. When you add it all together, it's about 23,000 for the year, which when you compare us to those other tier 1 research institutions in the state, you will find that we are one of the most affordable. But we also have scholarships. Everyone likes free money. So with the University of Houston this year, we had a November 1st priority deadline. So it is a little bit earlier than some of the other universities. But one thing to know is that it isn't a separate application. As long as you apply and complete your Apply Texas or Common application and get those supplemental documents like transcript, fee waiver in, you're automatically considered for our Academic Excellence Scholarship. So there's no additional work you have to do. We're just going to use those documents that you already submitted for your general application to the university. So that's one thing to know. As long as you apply early and complete, you're automatically considered for free money. Now, we do also have a tier 1 scholarship. It is a little bit more competitive, generally goes to students in the top 10-ish% of their class with a 1,400-ish SAT, 30 ACT. And then I believe they had some test optional existing this year for that program. But if you happen to get that scholarship, it is a separate application, and it has a November 1st deadline as well, but it does cover 4 years tuition, 2 years of housing if you get it. We do have a lot of additional scholarships. Like once you're admitted, there's this thing called Scholarship Universe in your student portal. You answer some questions about yourself and it sends you all these scholarships that it thinks you could apply for and potentially get. So that's really helpful too. You're not just gonna blindly be looking through all the different scholarships one by one. They try to find a good set for you. Now, one other thing I want to point out is we do have a lot of options for financial aid as well if you qualify. If family income falls below $65,000 per year, we can potentially cover tuition through FAFSA or TASFA, but you have to be have your application submitted, usually be admitted, and have the financial aid information to us by January 15th. So it is pretty rapid, but if you apply and complete by November 1st, and then get that financial information before January 15th, you're likely to get that best financial aid package possible. Even if family income falls between $65,001 and $125,000, there might be additional grants available. So we highly recommend still getting that FAFSA or TASFA as early as possible. So looking at the value of the University of Houston, so the average annual college cost is about $19,000 per year. The average UH student is only paying $13,000 per year. Typical total debt upon graduating is over $24,000 nationally, whereas the average UH student graduates with less than $20,000 in debt. Additionally, looking at the average salary after attending a university, it's about $41,500, not quite, whereas the average UH salary is at least $48,900. So on average, our students are paying less for university, graduating with less debt, and making more money. And I don't know about y'all, but that sounds pretty okay to me. Also, this is my contact information. That's kind of the gist of my presentation right now. I kind of wanted to open it up for any questions that y'all might have. Also, much thanks for telling me that y'all couldn't see the presentation. It's very helpful. No questions? Sweet. All right.
I'm sorry, I was on mute. Thank you. I just love this technology.
So yeah, I saw you like talking, but I was like, maybe she's talking to someone else, so I'm not even gonna say anything.
I was wondering if you guys would be open this summer for student tours of the campus and facilities.
So we just started campus tours like a couple weeks ago in person. They are smaller groups than before. You can only bring one person with you. So like potentially one parent only. So they are kind of socially distanced, smaller, but we do have campus tours available now.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. Anybody else have any questions?
Because the presentation was so good, right? No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, well, we really appreciate your time, Ms. Bicknell. I'll be sure to contact you if we're going to do this again in the fall, but we are trying to start applying to the schools. We've been doing this since last fall, you know, doing presentations and getting the information that the students need. So if you're available, I would love to have you back, but I'll email you on that here in the next couple months.
Awesome. Sweet. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. We appreciate it. Guys, gals, hold on one second.
All right. Thanks. Y'all have a great day.
Thank you.
Okay. So what did you learn? One thing, something, anything.
I heard something about oh, sorry, you can go.
It's okay. Go ahead.
He said ladies first, Sydney.
Okay. That the university is surrounded by a lot of different really good hospitals. So they'll get you internships and hours and stuff like that for
Okay, good. It is a big city. All right, cool. John?
Yeah. It's at the tip of my tongue. She said something about TAFSA. I don't know what that is, but
That is, it's the equivalent of FAFSA for
Mhm.
students who are not citizens of the United States of America.
Oh,
They
okay.
live here, but they don't have citizenship. That's what that is. So most students don't have to worry about that. But it's just a different application. So
Oh, okay.
you guys, everybody's filling out the FAFSA. I think I only had like one that has to do TASFA. Okay. What about you, Lauren?
They said it's very diverse and it's like really close to NASA.
Yes, that's really good. So Houston is a huge city. When she was talking about traffic being magical, that was just like a little jokey joke. Okay, because yes, it's horrid. I would recommend, if Houston is one of your top 10, that you live on campus. Okay. And I think you guys can notice, like in all the presentations, lodging where you live and stuff is usually about $10,000 for the year. Okay. So it's expensive, but if it is one of your top 10 schools, just because of the traffic of that city, I would definitely consider living on campus. It's just better for you. If you're going to pay for that whole experience, you might as well just get the whole thing. Okay. Let's see. Amia, one thing that you learned, honey, that was like, oh my God. Amia, are you there? I'm coming for you next, Philip. Amia says top 10 is basically automatically admitted. That is pretty much the same for every school. They did have a slide on if you don't turn in scores, which I haven't seen. Of all the presentations that we have done this semester, nobody has shared their process really. They just say, oh, if you don't have scores, you don't have to submit. But I don't know how they're selecting students. They have to base it on something. They just can't have everybody come in. So that is something that you guys need to pay attention to. If you've taken the SAT, if you've taken the ACT, you should submit those scores. Now, just notice the minimums, right? Because you don't want to like hurt yourself. If you're sitting at an 860, you might not want to turn those in. Yeah, I'm just, okay, keeping it real, right? Because the minimums, depending on where you are with your GPA and your ranking, the minimums varied. I think it was like if you're in 26 to 50%, it was in 1100. If you're not in an 1100 and you're in that area, just leave them off the application if they're giving you a choice. Okay. But they're still going to see your GPA and ranks because you're going to have to turn in transcripts and all of that stuff. You know, that's why their minimum was 1080. So I was glad she included that. Yes. Thank you, Amia. That was with an SAT and ACT score, I believe. I would have to go back to the videotape to see, but just pay attention to those things when you guys start applying, okay? Yes, thank you, Mia. Okay, what about you, Philip?
She said they had like a lot of food on campus. That's all I remember.
He said food!
They had like a Chick-fil-A or something like that.
Yeah, dude, like there's
Would
gonna
it
be
be
a lot.
open like all week, like Sundays as well, if it's on campus?
Well, I don't, because it depends on like it depends on the plan that you get. So there'll be like different plans. Like let's say there's an A through F plan, depending on which one you choose, will determine how much food you can get during the week. So, you know, you can decide, but there is a diversity. I think Ms. Cunningham said it right. There's a lot of diversity there. So hopefully you are able to get off campus and eat some of the food of the different cultures that are in Houston. It's a really nice place, you know, for diversity. You're gonna, it's like a little world that is in one spot. So yes, there'll be lots of food to choose from. For don't forget about that freshman 15, because it happens, y'all. Y'all be Philip's gonna come back. Hi, y'all. So just be careful with that. Make sure you do your exercises still, okay? Like I wish we could do physical education all 4 years here, but you know. Okay, so then the other thing, just one thing that I heard her say, if you're going into like the different colleges that they have, like College of Engineering, College of Arts, whatever, they did say that they had extra requirements for those. So be sure to check that out. Like, what are you trying to major in? They might have an extra requirement for that. I heard the word portfolio and was like, what? Huh? What? Portfolio? Yes, you're going to use those. So all of the skills that I have taught you, you have to make digital portfolios to showcase things that you've done. So the one that you guys are working on that you have, you can definitely use. If you're applying before you get back, if you're applying to colleges before you get back in August, make sure you put a link to your portfolio that's been scrubbed and somebody has edited for you in your resume. Okay, that's the place where they're going to be able to see the link. And if it's digital, make it hyperlinked. If it's, you know, on print, hopefully they'll be able to see that, type it in and see your portfolio. That is a huge advantage that you have against anybody else who's applying. Okay. So I do hope that this was helpful as you guys are going to be making your decisions on your top 10 and schools that you're going to apply to. Apply Texas opens, what did she say, July 1st, and then Common App opens August 1st. However, all of the schools have different dates as to when they open their applications, and you guys have done that research already, so you should have access to your sheets. Okay. Anybody have any questions, comments for me? No. Okay, so thanks so much for coming, you guys. You guys will have the rest of the class period to work on your CP Part 1 final exam or anything else that you have going on. Remember that next week, Monday, is the only day that I'll see you. So if I have you first, second, third, you'll see me. Otherwise, I won't see you at all because remember, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday are asynchronous. And when do you take the U.S. History EOC?
Next Wednesday.
Yep, Wednesday the 5th. So be here. Get that done. Okay, guys? I hope you have a great day. Love you. Ciao.